Greetings everyone, Scott Coburn here at Steakager, and tonight I'm excited to make a few introductions. I'd like to introduce White Oak Pastures of Bluffton, Georgia. Check out their website, whiteoakpastures.com. They are a world leader in regenerative and sustainable farming. It's amazing to see. Had the opportunity to visit. We're going to talk about what White Oaks does. We're going to talk about their products and what makes them very special. And I'd like you to check out their website because it's important. White Oak friends, we're Steakager and we're all about dry aging. And we produce and market the technology that you see in the background here that allows you to create dry aged beef at home. Hopefully some of you have heard about dry aging beef. It's the key to an amazing steak experience. The great steakhouses of the world do it. You take a piece of beef, which is roughly 70% moisture from the grocer, dry age it, and this has only been a week, but you can see what the dry aging process does is it reduces moisture, it concentrates flavor, and at about the 40-day period of dry aging, you get an amazing taste transformation. It's the best, in my opinion, the best possible steak that you can enjoy at any time. One of my passions is making prosciutto, and it got me into this business. I'm on a plane, I'm reading about White Oak Pastures in one of those plane magazines, and about their Iberico herd and the best practices, and they had this, this amazing herd that was directly from Spain, and it was an amazing story. So, a couple of phone calls later, met Jenny Harris on the phone. We chatted about dry aging, we chatted about charcuterie. I expressed interest in giving them a Steakager so they could learn about dry aging, as well as purchasing and visiting. Here we are, a year and a half later, and we finally got to visit. Amy and I went to the farm, we spent a day with Jenny, we learned about their operations, and that's the backstory. It's amazing. So impressed that this world leader in Bluffton, Georgia, gave us the opportunity to visit and teach us about what they do. And White Oak Pastures is an amazing operation. It's something to see. 150, 60 employees, family owned by the Harris family since 1866. I mean, come on. Somewhere in the mid-90s, the leader of the company, Will Harris, said, hey, we're done. We're gonna move to more sustainable farming practices. The core principles are animal welfare, land regeneration, and rural revival. Folks from all over the world come to Bluffton to visit and learn about what they do every day. So you have to imagine everything's pasture raised, grass fed, grass finished, zero waste facility. So everything's composted. Everything is in balance. And I gotta recommend, if you get the opportunity to visit Bluffton, it's a heck of a trip. They have a wonderful 175-year-old country store that they've renovated into a grocery. They've got a food truck, they've got an outdoor space. It's really a community hub where you can have a beer, you can have a sandwich or dinner and do your shopping. And Bluffton's a small town, so everybody knows where they are and everybody shops there and hangs out there and the bands play there. It's really cool. And there's Airbnbs on the property, so if you check it out, it's a nice trip. Oh, and by the way, if you feel like you want to get dirty, bring your boots. They'll put you to work. They have an internship program as well. So it's really cool if you really want to get granular with how one of the world's most successful, sustainable, regenerative farm operations operates. They're the guys to visit. You got to check it out. It has no hormones, no pesticides, nothing. There's zero chemicals on the property. They raise sheep, chickens, beef, turkeys, duck, organic veg. They've got a beef and a poultry abattoir on the same property, so there's no mystery there. The chain of custody is within the property and within the Harris clan and the employees of the company from start to finish. It's pretty cool to see. Things you must know, the beef, in fact, all the products of White Oak Pastures is in a word, pristine. Check out their website, whiteoakpastures.com. So what is dry aging? Well, it's simple. So you take a piece of beef from the grocer, 70% water. It is what it is. And what dry aging does is by circulating air at the right temperature over the cut of beef, it basically evaporates the moisture that's entrained within the cut, and that constant drying and motion of air eliminates the ability for any pathogens or rot to occur. What happens over the course of a couple of weeks, we get a concentration of flavor, so the moisture content's dropping. At around 40, let's call it 40 days, 35 to 45 days, we see an enzymatic change where the cut of beef lowers the water content further, that concentrates flavor. Then we have enzymes going to work. Now we have a complete transformation of texture and taste. Fork cut, it's just an amazing steak experience, and some of you might have experienced it in a great steakhouse in New York City, in Chicago, wherever on earth. My first dry-aged steak was in Hong Kong. So it's a remarkable way to enjoy a great steak. It's my only way to enjoy steak now, and our technology brings that into your house. So Behind me is a Pro 40. It is refrigerated. It can hold 2 full subprimals. And we put them in these racks, very special racks that we've patented and we build ourselves. And the entire subprimal can lay in here. You tie it up like a shoelace, and now you can stand it up and you can fit 2 full subprimals. You'll discover your own personal perfection. Mine's about 40 days, 42 days. And once you cut up the steaks and trim the pellicle, you can vacuum seal it. It preserves perfectly in a freezer because there's very little water in it. Our other product is a Pro 15, which you'll see here, and it lives in a refrigerator. It creates its own microclimate and the algorithms that run it, and it's pretty cool because it's a simple, cost-effective way to really get into dry aging before you go into production with this guy. Jenny Harris was gracious enough to send us this Tomahawk. As you can see here, this is now 8 days. Okay, so it's transitioned. Just to compare the two, that's 8 days of dry aging. On a smaller cut like this, you can't go 40 days. It's too much. In dry aging, mass is equal to the ability to dry age. So this 7-bone, we're gonna go a full 45 days. We're going to slab it up. We're gonna have an event here at the shop. We're gonna do a tasting. A couple of things to note. This is a horizontal truss rack. What this allows us to do with smaller cuts is we just slide it in and we're dry aging. Keeps your hands nice and clean. This little chuck roast I bought, we're just gonna toss it in there and it'll end up in the freezer for a stew or something after about 20 days in the dry ager. Keep in mind with dry aging that at the lowest end of enjoyment, you're concentrating the flavors that are entrained within the cut of beef. 20 days, 15 days. It's a nice pop of beefy goodness, if you will. What happens when you hit 40 days out, that's when you get the enzymatic changes, the flavor changes, and the big dry age experience. SteakAger.com, WhiteOakPastures.com.